Hey folks, and welcome back to Hey Adora, your Queer She-Ra podcast. I am Force Captain Meth, they, them.
And I'm Princess Jenny, she, her.
And Jenny, this is like a solid banger.
Yeah, we are really getting to the point where there's nothing left but solid bangers and ramping excitement and nail-biting,
Nail-biting gayness.
Yes, nail-biting gayness indeed. This is a great episode.
So what is this banger episode we keep talking about? Why, it's A Shot in the Dark. A Shot in the Dark is season 5, episode 8. It was written by Catherine Nolfi, directed by Jen Bennett, with storyboards by Emily Hu, Jasmine Goggins, Sharon Sun, and the regent of Cachadora, Mickey Quinn.
Meth,
Jenny.
this is the episode where we meet my kitty.
I know! We get to meet Jenny's kitty!
Yay!
I'm so excited about talking about kitties!
It's so exciting.
This is such, as I mentioned before, this is a hard banger of an episode. I remember way back in the day, deep in obsessive pandemic She-Ra times, I found a mega mix of all of the gay stuff on She-Ra. It was just all the Cachadora stuff. Like every scene that was Cachadora-y.
Right.
This episode, it was almost so like that particular part was this entire episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of great Cachadora moments in this episode.
This is just a shippy episode.
It sure is. It's a good one. It's a good one. And when I had 2 wonderful angel kitties for 17 years in Brooklyn, and I could not possibly have loved them more. I still dream about them, but kitties don't live forever. And so when they passed on, I was hoping that I would find for my next kitties a bonded pair with one black cat so that I could name them Milog. And the kitten distribution system provided.
Love the kitten distribution system. It's the best.
It's the best.
It gives Jenny Milogs. It gives Catra Milogs. Everybody gets a kitty if you need one.
Yes. And the only downside to having a kitty named Milog is that most veterinarians don't know Milog, the cat from She-Ra, and they always say Melog, and I have to correct them, even though I think it's pretty obvious that it should be a hard E.
Like Kellogg.
But, I also have a hard to pronounce last name, so it's the burdens we bear.
It is the burdens we bear. Do you want to, speaking of ships and burdens, do we want to go to Darla?
Yes, let's go to the ship where our buddies currently are. They are exactly where we left them at the end of the last episode, frantically trying to get in touch with their peeps on the ground, but they cannot get in touch with their peeps on the ground because they're all pod people.
Well, we don't know if they're all pod people.
They're mostly pod people, and the few that are left have fled.
They have. So all they know is that there is chaos abound on Etheria. Everyone is freaking out, and lo and behold, Entrapta lets them know that I think I found the blockade perfume it was talking about.
Yes, this terrifying blockade of knife-shaped ships floating around the planet menacingly.
Yep, and we have some lovely, Bo has the great dry, that's a lot of horde ships. And I immediately thought of the movie Jaws, where they see Jaws for the first time and they're like, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, I mean, I've never even seen that movie, but I know that iconic line.
Yeah, this is the we're going to need a bigger boat moment for our intrepid heroes.
Absolutely. And Glimmer also drops a line that I have written as Chekhov's lack of magical energy in space. She yells, "Why does space hate me so much?" Because according to Glimmer up till now, there's no magic in space.
There's no magic in space. And also, I get it. I don't understand why space hates me so much.
Well, I can't comment because I have not been to space. Maybe space loves you.
Maybe space does love me.
We don't know.
But Adora lets them know that magic or no magic, they're still getting home. And this sets up the wonderful kind of running joke throughout this episode of Catra being being part of a mission and seeing how the people that she was
fighting against in this really epic way for the past 4 seasons.
Seeing how they make decisions and how totally different it is than how she makes decisions. And I love this part.
It's amazing.
It's hilarious. And you know what also leads up to my first out of many and one of my favorite gayest moments.
Yes. It's hard to pick a favorite in this episode, but it is truly wonderful.
It really is.
Because we've got like frustrated dumb jock Adora versus like cynical slouchy Catra.
So Adora says, we're going home. And Catra says, cynically, yes, what is your plan? To ram through an armada of ships? And we have the, no, maybe.
Like full hands on hips, full eyebrow sass.
Just being big, dumb lesbian who wants to smash through things. And Catra's the grouchy, cynical lesbian that's going to call her out also because she's the one that knows Adora.
Yes. And this is also the beginning. I mean, it's not the beginning overall through the whole season, but in the beginning of this episode of Catra showing us how much she is experiencing her PTSD.
Yes.
Because she gets right up in Adora's face. She says, you heard Perfuma. They're waiting for us. They're going to catch us. And if they do, and then there's this really loaded pause. And, you know, her hands start shaking. And then she has a total tonal shift. And she becomes a lot less confrontational. And we really see a break in her demeanor, and we see Adora's expression shift as she really takes it in. And then Catra says, take it from someone who's defeated you guys like a lot. Charging in without a plan won't work. And she just walks away.
Yeah, I also love this because it shows that Catra's strength is being a strategist, and she's a fantastic strategist.
Yes.
And also, you just kind of like pinged this in the mind grapes, but we really see there are a couple of times in here where we see Catra's tone shift change, not only from from trauma, but also she's learning how to control her anger.
Yeah. And show her vulnerability, even just a little.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a huge episode for Catra.
Yeah.
Obs. And we love this. We love you, sweet baby Catra.
We love sweet baby Catra and sweet baby Adora taking these tender baby steps towards each other.
I know, they're so good.
Fizzgig also agrees.
Oh my gosh!
One of my kitties just came in to say hello.
Jenny's kitty Fizzgig is there, and she's a little gremlin, but she's perfect, obviously.
I figured it'd be noisier to try to lock her out, because then she would just stand behind the door being like, scratch, scratch, scratch.
Yep. Very apt for an episode about kitties.
And then we also have another fun gayest moment. It's a little one. After Catra walks away, Adora gets a brief but satisfying pouty lesbian face as she follows after Catra with this very familiar, almost comfortable bluster. And she, more like they were in the beginning, saying, okay, well, you didn't defeat us. Kind of like they just came out of their little situation room. And she just kind of crosses her arms and they bump elbows and they share this look that is both teasing and loving, and I just fucking love it so much.
Me too, and obviously I had that as a gayest moment.
Of course you did.
Of course I did, because it's such a small moment of familiarity and tenderness.
Yeah, like this episode is full of those little baby steps.
And it's so good. I love an episode that just plays on like the smaller, softer parts of love. I love that because that's what love is.
Yeah. And like the realness of like relationships aren't mended all at once with grand gestures. I'm not saying that grand gestures don't happen and don't matter.
Sure.
But you can't hinge relationships on those.
No, you can't.
Doing the work means seeing all of these little steps and all of these little moments.
Agreed. All right. Well.
Yeah. So then Bo says that Catra's right. And while they all get over the weirdness of Bo saying that Catra's right, he asks her if she found out any weaknesses that Prime might have while she was with him. And Catra's like, what, you think he'd tell me?
Yeah, and Wrong Hordak totally blows up the scene and is like, We do not discuss Horde Prime's weakness, which, like...
Yes, Wrong Hordak coming in as most valuable supporting player in this episode, especially with the comedy.
Good job, Wrong Hordak.
You are correct, brother. We do not discuss Horde Prime's weakness.
Wait, what? So, what? So that means that Horde Prime does have a weakness.
Yes, you have sort of outlined the whole thing for us there quite neatly. And then he just begins like the tiniest bit of the tweak out that will lead to the world's fastest and most compressed existential crisis. It just starts here a tiny bit. He like cocks his head to one side like a puppy, and he has like the tiniest little eye tweak. He says, no.
He says he's all powerful. No one is convinced.
I twitch.
And of course, Wrong Hordak continues to back himself into the verbal corner by saying, we do not discuss Krytis.
Yes, great job not discussing Krytis, buddy.
Yeah, good job, bro. What's Krytis?
Krytis does not exist, and if it did, we would not discuss it.
Apparently, Catra has just downloaded all of the information that we need from Horde Prime because Catra has a flashback and knows that it's a place.
Yes, this is another one of her PTSD flashback heebie-jeebie kind of moments.
Yep.
And we do learn some from this, but not like everything.
Not like everything.
You know, she remembers that it's a planet. And that Entrapta looks up everything that she needs to know just from learning that it was a planet. She looks up in Darla's records, but it's locked. Who could have foreseen that? Good thing we have our administrator ready and waiting to unlock all of our locked records, our human password key.
Our human password key. So Adora puts in the root password and we get the records.
And look, it's not too far from here.
That's convenient, isn't it?
Very convenient.
But of course, Wrong Hordak is like, incorrect!
Incorrect! It is located nowhere because it does not exist because Lord Prime destroyed it. Also, he's getting very sweaty.
Jenny, you taught me about this last episode because this is historical negationism.
Ah, yes! Correct! Excellent callback!
Thank you. I learned. So this is Horde Prime engaging in some historical negationism.
Indeed.
And they're like, okay, Wrong Hordak, you're kind of full of shit. We're going to set course for Krytis.
Yes. And then Adora has a really great boss lady gay moment. She strides confidently to her captain's chair, sits down like a boss with her legs apart, as everyone else stares confidently ahead through the view screen towards us, the audience, as Adora says, there's something on Krytis Prime doesn't want us to know about, and we're gonna find it. Set course for Krytis.
Oh, good job, Adora. Yeah!
That's a real, like, action, you know, that, like, final visual. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the credits.
Strong opening.
Very strong.
Killer opening. Love it. We have some new credit changes.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
So you mind if I just go through them a little bit?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So opening change, we have Chipped Micah, Mermista, Spinny, and Scorpia in the villain part of the intro, with the four of them surrounded by a group of clones in the hands of Horde Prime. And our hero card is missing those four members of the rebellion and has a very sad Perfuma next to Catra. And that is also a gayest moment of mine, is very sad Perfuma.
She's so sad. It is. It is very sad. Yeah, and this is the smallest number of people in that final title card that we've ever had.
Yep.
Because so many of our friends have been chipped. But it's not going to stay that way forever.
And it's not going to stay that way forever.
This is the final push.
This is credits. Jenny, do you really think that it's not going to stay this way forever and we maybe can win in the end?
I believe that we can win in the end. We're going to Krytis. We're going to find his weakness.
We're going to Krytis. Yeah, we're going to find the weakness in Krytis. And so we get to Krytis, and it is a spooky ghost planet.
Yes, it is a dark and rocky terrain, a jagged desert wasteland.
This barren wasteland of rocks and nothing, and then one toppled, aged Horde spire. So it's this weird juxtaposition of like nothing and then broken old ass technology.
Yeah, and I don't think this is like an intentional comparison and it doesn't really hold up. But the first thing I thought of when I saw it was in the original Alien movie when they land and it's just like this totally barren, harsh landscape. And then there's this one crashed ship that looks like it's been there for like centuries. It's all decrepit.
I also thought of Alien. Yeah, this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it's not just me.
Well, because it's a space horror episode, right?
Right. Yeah. It's just like this one decrepit crashed ship and like nothing else.
And then you go into the decrepit crashed ship and the creature chases you and you're in peril. But
Right. And you expect, some sort of eldritch horror.
Right. But this, this flips the...
Yeah, it flips the script. Exactly.
But this is a space horror episode, which we haven't really done like a true space horror episode.
That's true.
And I'm excited. So...
That's true. It's true.
Because it does have all the trappings of a space horror, and Alien is kind of like the prime example.
That's true. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah, the first Alien is a horror film in space.
And it has a cat.
And it has a cat. Oh, yeah. Jonesy. Jonesy the cat.
Jonesy.
Yeah. Once again. You know what? We're going to call this the Alien episode.
Nice.
I'm calling it. It's Alien. There's a cat and everything.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to the smart lady. The smart lady and her cat will be okay.
Always listen to Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
We digress, but we're on Krytis, and it's creepy.
So they know that Prime was definitely here because there's that spire.
There's the spire.
But something made him leave.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to point out that they are back in their fun spacesuits because the atmosphere here is questionable. We don't know whether or not it's breathable.
Sure. Yep. And we are, like you just said, we're in another episode of Spacesuits with Hair Holes.
Catra has another quiet little PTSD flashback all by herself where she's just sort of like standing on this precipice. She, just puts her hand on the back of her neck and then she quickly drops it and sort of huffs at herself like she's mad at herself for even having this moment of weakness, but nobody else witnesses it. It's just sort of setting her up for struggling with herself in this episode.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm. And her tail even puffs out the way cats do when they're really freaked out. And she looks at that and she's like, you dumb idiot. How can you have emotions? It's like what she's struggling with.
Her tail that is, by the way, coming out of her custom-made spacesuit that was already ready for her with adorable cat ears and a tail hole that Entrapta just kind of threw together. I'm guessing she started putting it together when they went to go rescue Catra from Horde Prime and finished it.
Absolutely. I don't think it takes Entrapta very long to put these things together. And I have a few bullets about this moment with Catra. I have about, like what she's going through with this emotional beat.
Yes, please.
I don't want to linger on it too long, but if you'll indulge me.
I will indulge you indeed.
Because she's just at the beginning of her PTSD recovery, which is, of course, a lifelong journey.
Yes.
And she's never had any kind of emotional safe space. So it makes sense that she's judging herself harshly for having any kind of emotional reaction to literally anything, because she doesn't yet feel safe to process things.
Yeah.
But this is the ep where we're going to start to see the needle move on that.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to see her starting to make the effort to make these baby steps towards breaking old toxic patterns and moving towards new ones. And we're also going to see Adora and the rest of the group, to a lesser extent, making an effort to hold space for her to do so in a variety of ways. And I think, when you said at the beginning, this is a big episode for Catra, it's a big episode in terms of stuff happening, but also in terms of her internal journey. I think these are the ways that we'll see her baby stepping on her PTSD processing and her emotional processing. It's about her making the effort, but it's also about other people holding space for her to do so.
Yes, that's a really important distinction. Like, it could just be the Catra's doing or, doing all of the fixing herself, but this really is about like her being welcomed into the group and also them giving her the space that she needs. I agree. Yeah.
Right. Like, it can't just be about other people saying like, well, this is what you need to do to heal. It's like, that's not how healing works.
No.
You have to feel that you are safe to muddle through your feelings. So they get to the structure here, and Entrapta enthusiastically yoinks Wrong Hordak over to this clone port and plugs him in like a useful accessory.
Yep. And of course he doesn't mind, right?
No. I mean, this is what he's used to. He's used to just being a utilitarian object.
Yeah. He's used to being a tool.
Yeah.
And he's being used as a tool here.
And I mean, they couldn't have accomplished any of this without him.
No. They could not have.
And he couldn't have had his own awakening that he has by the end of the episode if he didn't have access to this information.
Absolutely. So he's looking through logs, and we have Entrapta doing some readings, making sure things are functioning, and says that, hey, guess what? The readings show that the atmosphere here is safe.
And she immediately throws her helmet away like she's never going to need it again.
And everyone else does too, except for Catra, who, to be fair...
Yeah, she has seen enough of Entrapta more than the other guys to know that she does make mistakes occasionally.
Yeah, a lot, actually. Bo turns it around and is like, well, if my helmet were that adorable, I'd leave it on too. And is just like, I don't know if this is an intentional, like, digging into Catra or Bo just being like, this is how I express, like, camaraderie with my people.
Yeah, I have some issues with how hard they hit this beat throughout the episode of Bo just harping on about how cute Catra is, but I'm going to wait to get into it until a little bit later.
Cool. I'm glad that you thought that there was like, yeah, it's a fun comedic beat, right? But it's like, does it make sense?
They hit it a little too hard and too often.
Yeah.
This first one, like, I like where it ends up in this first one because, like, they're not laughing at her and they're not trying to be mean. They're just like, oh, it's so cute. And Catra, is annoyed more than annoyed at first. She's like, I'm not cute. And then she quickly tries to pull it off and she's struggling with it. And then when she finally gets it off, she sees them all kind of laughing, but not in a mean way, in sort of a soft, unguarded way, especially Adora.
Uh-huh.
And when she sees Adora being sort of sweet and like blushing a little, that makes her kind of soft and unguarded too, just for this one quiet moment.
Yeah. And I mean, I obviously this is a gayest moment.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like we don't have to say it, but, it's a gayest moment because it's that look that you give the person you love when they're doing something cute and, like when they notice and then like that person just softens.
And Adora isn't looking at Catra when she's laughing. So it's like Catra is observing Adora in an unguarded moment of affection for Catra, but she's not looking at Catra. So Catra is observing Adora having affection for her without Catra herself feeling observed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what softens it for Catra.
Yeah, there's been like a bunch of videos going around on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I say this because I'm like 100 years old. They're like point of view shots of like, what your boyfriend looks like when you smile at him. And you just see like they're far away shots. And it's just this dude who's just kind of duding around. And he looks and he notices that the person behind the camera, who is ostensibly his partner, is like smiling at them. And you just see him light up. Aww. And like have this like levity that like he doesn't have because he's like carrying himself through the world as a man, right? Quote unquote. And that's just kind of what this like feels like, where it's like, well, it's not like masculinity. There is this sort of like performative like grouchiness that does come from a tenderness about like vulnerability, right?
Absolutely.
But then notices that like, the person that they love the most in the entire universe is like looking at them, like smiling at them, and then there's a softening. And so gayest moment,
But they only get to have that for a moment, which is probably all that only a moment is all that can be held with that little tenderness. And then Entrapta jumps in and screams because she's picking up a heat signature. There is someone alive on this planet right here in the spire of all places.
Of all places, that's impossible. Prime destroyed all life on this planet.
On this planet that does not exist.
Wrong Hordak lets us know that the planet indeed does not exist and no one here lives. If the planet existed, which it doesn't.
So Entrapta tosses everyone except Wrong Hordak some sweet in-ear comms so that she can guide them through the spire. And now they have a very clear mission. And away they go.
I like how smoothly they all catch them. Yeah, they're all just like, yoink, just catching them out of the air, just plucking them out.
Very slick little moves there. Boop, boop, boop.
Very slick, yeah. And I like that she was able to make more, or just made a whole bunch of them beforehand, just like had them on hand. Because remember, they got crushed.
Yeah, she probably has a stash of those. And now we have another revival of that bit from the cold open that's going to continue through the episode. of you know, Catra not having faith in their plans and being incredulous that they ever were even a contender in her fighting with them. And she's like, so wait, the plan is to barge ahead into the structurally unsound building to find some mystery person that we know nothing about in hopes that they somehow know how to defeat Horde Prime?
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, that about sums it up. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But she, you know, she goes along with it. She sort of crankily goes along with everything through the episode.
And I love the way that AJ delivers the honest.
But that is not the end of the bit.
It's not. Because, you know, Bo lets, you know, Catra know, was like, you know, we were going to recklessly blast our way through that blockade until you stopped us. So this whole thing is basically your idea.
And then Glimmer jumps in and she's kind of like hanging on Bo's arm in this very intimate way. And she says to Catra, in a way that's kind of teasing, but in the way that you tease your friend, she says, yeah, it's kind of your mission.
And we, of course, have Bo and Glimmer saying Catra's first mission.
And they both grab her between them. They loop their arms through both of her arms and they kind of twirl her around between them, chanting Catra's first mission, Catra's first mission. Like they're psyched. They're like initiating her.
Yeah, and Catra's like total grouch. I love how grouchy Catra is. She's like, no, it's not.
She's like a little Uncle Skeletor in that moment.
I hate fun.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. She learned it from her gay Uncle Skeletor.
Yes, she did. It's very much a, you know, we're teasing you because you're one of us now kind of moment.
Yeah, one of us. It's one of those moments.
Yes. And then, you know, when she pulls herself out, she says to Adora, I'm going to kill your friends in this way that's very much like, I'm not actually going to kill them. I am just annoyed in this way that is clear that I'm going to tolerate it and I'm just have to express it so that I can continue to tolerate it.
Right. And this is also another micro moment where Adora looks at her and Catra sees Adora looking at her and Catra blushes. Like they have another one of those looking at moments.
Yeah, it's intimate. Like they're smiling at each other.
Yeah, they just keep like looking at each other and smiling at each other throughout this whole gay episode of Gayness.
It's incredibly sweet.
Also, I have absolutely said I'm going to kill your friends type of thing where it's like, why are your friends being so lovingly annoying, right?
Yeah, and I have had that said to me by my cranky partner who was not into socializing with people.
Oh, yeah.
But is doing it for me.
Oh, but then Adora's response of, please don't, was like so perfect. Because she knew.
Yeah, it's perfect. Tie it up with a bow. Mwah.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, she knew the situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have lovely, beautiful, small tender moments before we go to Etheria.
Yes, now we unfortunately have to flop back over to the destroyed rebel camp where our last 5 buddies are still standing. We have Natasa, Perfuma, Seahawk, Swifty, and Frosta.
Yeah, and they are just... This scene destroys me. The part of this scene I think that destroys me the most is when Seahawk goes into the tent and picks up Mermista's Sierra doll and is just like, oh, what happened to my beautiful queen of the ocean?
I know, it's rough. I don't necessarily think that doll belonged to Mermista.
Well, no, it wasn't hers.
Right.
You see it and it's next to his sword, so it was his.
Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because you see his sword there, his like lightsaber, right? That was his sword, so that was his Sierra doll.
Oh my God.
So, and I mean, I'm just headcanon that they share a tent.
No, of course they did. You know, I didn't think that it was his.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together that was his sword next to it. I just thought it was like a child's. But it makes more sense that it was his.
Yeah. And Natasa understands, right?
Right, yeah. The moment where she came up next to him and put her hand on his shoulder was really gutting for me because it's like they're the only ones who can really give comfort to each other because both of their partners have been chipped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, like they really get it. They both understand what each other is feeling.
Once again, another wonderful small moment in this episode that's like built up of small moments of connection.
Yeah. yeah, this moment really is about, people and emotional development and emotional
Yeah.
interactions.
Yeah. Love it. What a good show. It's a good show.
It's a good
episode.
show. It's so good. But suddenly, in the midst of all of this tender, touchy-feely stuff, there is a rustling in the bushes, and everybody has to spring back into fight mode and have their adrenaline shoot back up.
Yeah.
But it's just Auntie Casta. She came as soon as she heard.
I know. It's like, where were you? It was like, oh, probably Mysticor,
Yeah. I mean, I get a feeling that those folks in Mysticor are kind of Ivory Tower folks based on what we saw of them in the past when they had the opportunity to act and didn't.
Yeah. That's definitely it. So we have Sandra Oh joining us again. Yay.
Yes. Hello, Auntie Casta.
Love her. But of course, they're like, what the fuck? What are you doing here?
Yeah, they're in full trust no one mode now. And luckily, there is a quick and non-invasive test that they can do of trustworthiness. And it's called Show Us Your Neck.
I love that. I love Show Us Your Neck.
So they quickly establish that Auntie Casta is not a pod person.
They do a Show Us Your Neck. Auntie Casta is not a pod person. She is also flabbergasted that these are the only people who are left.
Yeah.
And Perfuma's reaction to this is gutting. Like, she doesn't say, yeah, that's it. She just says, we need to find another place to make camp. And she's just, poor Perfuma. I'm having all of the feelings for her.
Yeah. She's not built for leadership.
No.
She makes it very clear over and over.
She does.
This is too much for her.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to be pragmatic.
She's just trying to be pragmatic. She's like, I'm stepping up. Okay. And this is what I have to do. But oh my God, this is not, I can do it, but I'm not built for it.
Yeah. She's just trying to do what needs to be done. So they just start to discuss this when another unexpected face appears. Bum. It's Shadow Weaver.
They don't do Show Me Your Neck to Shadow Weaver, though.
Yeah, it kind of wouldn't make a difference.
She's too evil to chip.
Yeah. And so then we have the beginning of our little side plot in this ep, which is Shadow Weaver and Auntie Casta.
Yeah.
Casta says to Shadow Weaver, how did the rebellion lose so many of our finest members, and yet we're still stuck with you?
These two.
And the answer to that is, say what you will about Shadow Weaver, that bitch is a survivor.
That bitch knows how to live.
She knows how to survive.
She knows how to survive. Absolutely. I love the dynamic between these two because it's just two old queens that hate each other. But they're forced to be together. It's very whatever happened to Baby Jane, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoy their dynamic in this episode. I know some people see it as, sexy, but I just can't see it that way because Shadow Weaver is so evil. I don't really believe that she can have sexy feelings for anyone because when a person is as pathological as Shadow Weaver, they can only wield sexuality as a weapon for power. And so if that dynamic does exist in any way for Shadow Weaver, it's just about power.
Yeah, I agree.
So Casta says they need to seek out the Horde and get Micah back. Perfuma says they need to get out of there and make sure the rest of the rebellion is safe first. And the rest of the survivors follow Perfuma. But Shadow Weaver is willing to work with Casta. So the two of them snark at each other for a minute. Shadow Weaver points out that she has a plan and Casta doesn't. So finally, Casta agrees to go with her, but with the caveat that if you try anything, I won't hesitate to strike you down.
I know, like a fucking Jedi, right?
Yeah. But of course, Shadow Weaver isn't threatened by her at all. She isn't threatened by anyone.
No.
Yeah, she steps in and body checks Casta. So they have no illusions about who is really in charge here.
Right.
And Casta does not hold her ground because, of course, she doesn't. Because she's never been an alpha dog.
That's not her thing. It's fine.
Yeah. But she does follow Shadow Weaver because what other choice does she really have?
Right. And I like that we're seeing the two people, like the ex-Horde people here are the ones that have the plans, the concrete plans. We have Shadow Weaver and And Katra being like, we need to think about this in terms of having concrete planning. And everyone else being like, reacting.
That's a good observation. I do think it's a little weird that Casta and Shadow Weaver just kind of walked off without even saying, okay, bye guys, we're going to go do our thing, but we'll regroup later.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. They were just like, peace. And it's like, where are they going? Who cares? We need to run away. Like,
yeah. Everything's very chaotic, but that is the end of that scene. Even though they don't say anything, any words of goodbye, that is in fact the end of the scene. They just leave.
They Irish goodbye out of there. And now we go back to Krytis.
Yes. So back on Krytis, they're all just walking along this creepy, long abandoned hallway. It's basically just like a very bare bones structure.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly Katra, who is slightly behind the rest of the group, sees a flash of something. It
What?
seems like a fast-moving shadow or perhaps a ghosty.
Ooh.
Just a flash.
Perhaps a ghosty. Maybe it's an alien.
Could be an alien. And they get to a dead end.
Which is weird, right?
It's a bit weird. This is a strangely planned structure. And then Katra says, cool, maybe this planet chased away Horde Prime with poorly planned architecture, which I know is a funny line, but it annoys me because this is Horde Prime's spire.
Right? Also, here's the thing that annoyed me about it. I'm glad we were both annoyed by this, but for different reasons. She grew up in the Fright Zone, which was built piecemeal with spaceship parts and chewing gum.
Yeah, that's true too.
And she's talking about bad architectural planning and infrastructure. Like, come on, Katra.
Yeah. But either way, like, it's not the planet that made this weird architecture.
Right.
It was Prime's spire to begin with. So if anyone should be blamed for the weirdness,
it's Prime.
But it is still a funny line. Over the comms, Entrapta asks, why did they stop? Just go through the door that's right in front of you, man.
But what door?
There is no door. There is no spoon. Entrapta says the schematics show a door right where they're standing. And then she says one of her favorite lines that comes back again later in the episode, data never lies. And I just have to stop right here to point out that facts are facts, but data can be falsified. Just like we discussed in the last episode, historical negationism, this is where I brought it back. Data can be falsified or forged. And in our current political climate, that's a really important thing to remember. So like pure data on its own doesn't lie, but you don't know if the data you're looking at has been tampered with deliberately or accidentally. So you can't just look at a piece of paper and assume that everything on it is real and correct in every way. You know, like, oh, if it's written in the newspaper, it has to be true, right? If it's on the internet, it has to be true, right? You know?
Right.
So her blind faith in facts is a little bit naive. She's correct in this case.
Sure. I actually had a very similar thing. I also wrote data never lies is bullshit. But it was different. The yes, you are correct. And to add on to that, humans and other sentient creatures, since not everyone here is a human, right, are always the ones observing and interpreting the data. Yeah, and humans are not, and other sentient creatures are not infallible. And as such, there is no perfectly impartial data.
Very true.
So both of us are here. Remember, kids, data can lie.
So this is a bit oversimplified.
But for our purposes, especially of building the world here and building the story, there should be a door. Also, it's interesting because as we see later, data is lying by the observer because things are dictated on this planet by illusion.
That's right.
So there's another place where data's lying.
That's right. So there you go. So now it's time to crank the knob on Wrong Hordak's incredibly fun existential crisis.
Oh gosh, it's so Wrong Hordak finds the right logs and is like, the logs say that Lord Prime retreated from this planet, but that cannot be.
Lord Prime does not retreat. He is the almighty conqueror. And he like goes into the fetal position. His dominion is just and eternal. And he starts uncontrollably sobbing, which causes feedback over the comms, which we flip back to our buddies who can all hear it in their ears. And they're all like, oh, this is great.
Hilarious.
And Entrapta, of course, is the perfect person to provide comfort to someone going through an existential crisis.
They're there. But they're still trying to figure out, okay, the best friend squad is trying to figure out what this door is. And what Katra does next is something I have absolutely done before, even as like recently as last week.
You've made a door with your claws through drywall or metal?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
So Katra is in the middle of this conversation between like multiple people who are like, there's a door, there's no door, there's something here, there's not, blah, blah, blah. And she just needs to get something done.
And all these messy gays are just too caught up in the processing.
Right. So she just takes it into her own hands and makes a door.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
It is pretty hot. But it's also something that I do sometimes when like people are like, "Whoa, should we do this? We're goofing around. We have this." And I'm like,
yeah. When the gay group processing is just like taking way too long.
And I'm like, you know what? We're getting pizza.
Yeah. I'm just going to do it. There, it's done. I ordered it. It's going to be here in 15 minutes.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? I'll just move the couch. We don't need to figure out where it goes.
Yes. That was a well-made comparison.
Thank you. I deeply identify with Katra in this moment where she's like, you know what? We need a door. Boom. There's your door. You're welcome.
And she simultaneously makes it look easy because it's just like 4 swipes. Boom, boom, boom. But she's also panting when it's done. So obviously it wasn't totally easy.
It wasn't totally easy, which is another thing that I have definitely done before where it's like, fine, we need something done. I'll just go ahead and do it. And of course, I was not like ready to do the thing, but I got it done, sometimes to the detriment of my own health.
Yes. But Adora is pretty fucking into it. And obviously, this is another fantastic gay moment in this episode. She's just blushing and grinning like an idiot.
Oh, absolutely. She's like, my girl can make doors.
Can your girlfriend do that? So my girlfriend can do that.
My girlfriend can just cut through things with her claws, yet is gentle to me. And Bo starts needling at Katra again, playfully. But, maybe you shouldn't just smash stuff. We don't know what we're dealing with. And Katra just is like, do you want to do this? Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, I'm with Katra on this one. It's like, do you want to keep going? You want to just stand here?
I am too. Right. And it's like, look, we're here. We need to find this thing. Let's do it. It's not all like magnifying glasses on arrows.
Indeed. Can't always solve everything with a little bit of tech know-how and elbow grease.
No, sometimes you just need to cut a fucking door where there is no door, even though there should be a door.
Indeed. And then after they all walk through the homemade door, we see a very brief glowing bloop of something that we cannot yet identify. Of course, it's magic. So it's like they have now passed through into like the more magic heavy area of the ship.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so now that's a good point. It's like, okay, so there was no magic here and now there is more magic, or?
Yeah, I mean, my headcanon is that since Milog is the only living creature left on the planet, and I'm going to use he, him pronouns for Milog, since when Katra discusses Milog in the third person, she uses it pronouns, and she's translating for Milog. So it seems like Milog identifies with pronouns of it and its, but I don't really want to use it as a pronoun. So I'm just going to call Milog he, but I think it's open to interpretation. I think you could use any pronouns for Milog. But since my kitty Milog is he, him, I'm just going to say he, him. That's my qualifier. I think anyone can use any pronouns they want for Milog.
And Milog, we hope that you're okay with this, or to say it in your language.
Yes. Anyway, so my headcanon about the magic is that Milog is the only magical creature left on this planet, and so he only can spread his magic so far. He has like a magical radius around him.
Oh yeah, that so makes sense.
Because most of the planet itself might once have radiated magic, like a living magical planet.
Right.
But most of that, the planet itself is now dead.
Right.
And Milog is the only thing left that's radiating magic.
Right. That totally makes sense.
I'm glad you like that.
Thank you. I do like that. You're smart.
Thanks, man.
You're wicked smart. All right. Katra poking at Bo for, once again, like I said, the arrow that turns into a magnifying glass, which is kind of dorky.
Yeah, I mean, it's useful in this one instance, but you have to think, like, if you can only fit so many arrows in your arrow bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was useful in this one instance.
But, like, Katra is definitely, I can't believe we were losing to you guys.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
love that. She does not suffer nerds. I think that's what she's like. These people are nerds. Why can't I deal?
In this part of the spire, we are surrounded by little glowing magical pollen floofs, is what I'm calling them. You could also call them spores. Pollen and spores are very similar. They're just floating through the air.
I love pollen floofs of magic. That's great. It's like dandelions.
And Glimmer is getting some weird vibes from this place. Bo asks if she's okay. She says that she has a weird feeling, but she does not elaborate quite yet.
Yeah, and she doesn't know if it's a good or a bad one. It just feels different.
Yeah, she's uneasy.
I want to put a pin in that because I'm curious about why she's uneasy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like she just can't identify how she's feeling.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe I won't put a pin in it. It's like, because is she used to the controlled magic of Etheria and therefore is having a hard time dealing with only raw wild magic?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe every magical planet has a slightly different feel.
Yeah.
And so this isn't the familiar, maybe it's not wild versus tame. Maybe it's just like a slightly different flavor. Maybe, it's like a different flavor of ice cream or, like the ocean. This might not be a great example, but like, when I went to the West Coast for the first time, the ocean smelled different. And I was very taken off guard by that. And at first I thought I was going crazy. And I was like, but that can't be. The ocean is the ocean. And then I happened to go to some event at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And there were a bunch of marine biologists there. And I mentioned it to someone. And they were like, oh, no, you're actually correct. Because, on the East Coast, you have just shallow, it gets deeper and deeper very slowly. And so if you're anywhere near the coast, you're just smelling all the sea life that's right there. But here near Monterey Bay, we have this, deep sea drop very close to the shore. And that's why we have this deep sea aquarium here and all this deep sea study stuff, because we can study the deep ocean very close to the shore because it's like right there. And so you don't smell all the stuff that's in the ocean because it gets so deep, so close to shore. And that's why it smells different, because you're not smelling all the seaweed and the sea life that's right there because it's wicked deep down there. She didn't say wicked.
Right. Of course. Probably hella.
So I wasn't crazy when I thought the ocean smelled different. But for the first few weeks that I was there, I kept thinking, I was like, this can't be real. This must be in my mind. The ocean is the ocean. It can't smell different.
Yeah. But I think that's a really great parallel. Like, the ocean is the ocean. How is it different? This is weird. It's off to me, but I know it. Right? And it's like, I understand this vibe, but like, what is it?
Right. And so if I had been there and somehow not known I was near the ocean, I wouldn't have necessarily thought I was near the ocean.
Right. And, as a waterbender, you need to be near the ocean to understand, so I get it. Yeah.
Yes. And so since she doesn't know that it's magic, she just knows she knows she feels something, but she can't identify it as magic because it's not the familiar magic.
Yeah.
It's not the Etherean magic. It's a different flavor of magic.
It's not Etherean magic. It's a different flavor. Also, Monterey Bay Aquarium kicks ass.
It sure does. I haven't been there in a long time, but I assume it's still as awesome as it was when I was there 20 years ago. So I'm glad that I could make a good parallel for you there, because that is something that I thought about. I was like, how can Glimmer not recognize magic? It doesn't make sense. But so now we're ready for the next stage of Wrong Hordak's existential crisis, because Adora gets on the comms to ask Entrapta where they should go next, but all she can hear is the sound of Wrong Hordak's anguished sobs, because he has now begun to question the meaning of life.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Who am I if I am not an exalted brother of Prime?
Yes, Entrapta says not to worry. She's totally got it under control. And I don't think anyone really believes this. I don't think they all believe that emotional comfort is high on her skill set.
I don't believe this.
Bo just like grimaces in his I will pretend this is fine kind of way, and Glimmer's eye twitches.
No, that's Glimmer's eye twitch is awesome.
Yes. But Entrapta does manage to direct them to the next level, and off they go. So I have broken up, since there's a lot of time that's just in the spire, I have broken up this inside part into like the next level is like the next scene. And so now this is the next cute Catra beat. Catra has her first cute sneeze from the magical pollen, which Bo calls attention to, continuing the humanizing Catra with cuteness trope. that they're kind of hitting real hard through the ep. And so this is where I sort of broke down a few beats. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Because, like, I think what they're trying to do, and you might have different feelings about this, is that, like, humanizing her with cuteness. You know, it's like, oh, you can't be evil. You're so cute. And they just hit it way too hard in an overly simplistic way. And, like, too many times in one ep. Like, first we had the helmet, and then we have, like, 3 cute sneezes. And it's just, like, way too much. And it's just, like, overly black and white for a show that is usually not overly black and white.
Yeah.
And I think a better example is in Avatar, in part 1 of the series finale of Avatar. They're hiding out in the Fire Lord's beach house because it's also Zuko's beach house. And Zuko's like, hey, where else are they less likely to look for us?
Listen, let's go to the vacation. Let's watch a play, you know?
They find what they think is a baby picture of Zuko. And they're like teasing him like, oh, look what a cute little baby you were. And he's like, actually, that's a picture of my dad. You know, like the big bad evil Fire Lord. And so they have to sort of come to terms with the fact that the evilest person alive was once this cute baby. And so they're not saying like, oh, maybe he's not evil. Like he is, but he is also a human being who was once this adorable baby. And so Aang is wrestling with it the most because, you know, he swore an oath of non-aggression as an airbender. He really doesn't want to murder, but he also knows that he has to stop the Fire Lord.
Right.
But, you know, he wants to, and he ultimately does, find a way to stop him without murdering him. And so it's more of a yes and. It's like, this guy did really bad, has done atrocities, and he's a human being who was once this cute baby. And so it's more of a yes and, like holding all the complexities of what a human being is capable of and what it means to be human and hold humanity.
Yeah.
And so this episode, these beats that they keep hitting about, oh, Catch is so cute, she can't be evil, feels like they're trying to sweep away all that complexity. With like, oh, did you see the cute kitty sneeze? Here it is again in case you missed it.
I like that. I really like that, actually. I saw something similar, but it was more of an internal thing with Bo, where he's like, Catra can't be evil, she's cute, right? Like, but telling himself that. So it's more of a like Bo's internal monologue instead of like the show's like meta like narrative too. And I think it's both.
Yeah. I also felt like Bo's emotional intelligence is too high for me to believe that he would behave this way over and over when he sees that she doesn't appreciate it, that he's just pissing her off.
Yeah, I agree. And we never see him being like the gentle teaser either. Like that's not something Bo has ever done. Like Glimmer, yeah. Like that's kind of how Glimmer gets down.
Yeah, it would be more believable coming from Glimmer.
But Bo is not. Bo doesn't tease people.
Yeah, he's the emotional intelligence heart of their Scooby Gang.
Yeah. Right. Even if it's like fun teasing, we never see him doing that.
Yeah, and especially not for someone who doesn't appreciate it.
And vocally is like, no.
Yeah, so it would be a lot more believable coming from Glimmer, and then to have Bo be the one to be like, all right, break it up. Like, you know that this is all in good fun and we love you, like something like that.
Right. But like, because Bo is the one saying it, it makes it okay for the narrative.
Yeah, it doesn't sit with me as something that I can believe. It just seems out of character. It's just another one of these things where I feel like they're making people act out of character in service of the beats they want to hit.
Yeah, I agree. Like in service of the joke.
Yes.
They're good jokes. They're funny jokes.
Yes, it's funny. It's just not believable. And especially, again, in a show that's usually so good at all these layers of complexity, it's surprisingly flat.
Yes, agreed. Also, it's really important for me to tell you that Milog is right behind you.
Yes, he is.
And it was really awesome to see him come up. Hi, sweetie.
Yes. Hello, my little buddy. Oh, and for those who know that I was fundraising for his dental surgery, he came through with flying colors. We just today had his post-surgery checkup, and he's cleared for normal activity. He had to have 18 teeth removed. He only has 8 left. But the 8 he has are very healthy. He was diagnosed with a juvenile periodontal condition, but he's totally fine now. He's going to live a long, healthy life. I just have to brush his teeth every day. But luckily, he doesn't mind at all.
Well, that's good. Shall we get back to the episode?
Yes, let's do that. So I'm glad that we are on the same page about this one beat in this episode that doesn't quite land.
We are on the same page. I just wanted to bring up more of a personal thing that love a cute sneeze, but I am not a cute sneezer. But yes, so I don't understand somebody having a cute sneeze, but apparently Katra's got a really cute sneeze and Bo keeps needling her.
Yeah, because it's totally not real. It sounds fake.
Right? It's like, achoo, right? Like no one sneezes like that.
Yeah, that's a little cute kitty anime sneeze.
Which, like, fine. We'll give it to you. And Bo keeps needling in, and Katra is embarrassed now and does the, I am not cute.
Yes, see, that's what we need to get to. I think that might be the point of the whole bit, is to get her riled up enough to want to punch his dumb face, and her arm goes through a holographic wall.
Right, exactly. But I also have this as a gayest moment for Big Tough Dyke arguing about how uncute she is. Even though she literally gets like kitty angry and her tail bristles up and she stomps away and like.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And Adora also freaks out because her girlfriend is not allowed to be in danger.
Right. So she like goes after Bo, right? She like lunges at him and I don't think she's actually going to like harm him. I think it was more of a push, like stop it type of thing, but misses.
Yeah, that's more like friendly roughhousing. I don't think she was going to like literally tear his head off.
But it's like roughhousing, but she goes through the wall. She phases right through that wall when she misses him.
Just her arm.
Yeah, and she's freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, I would freak out if my arm went through a wall also.
Sure. I definitely would too. But she's like heavy freaking out now. She's like, get me out of this thing. She hates it.
Yeah. And when they pull her out, giant spikes shoot out of the wall. Because it's a booby trap. Didn't you see the boobies?
I missed the boobies. I never miss the boobies, but this time I missed the boobies. And so there's spikes. It's terrible. Glimmer's freaking out. She knew that the feeling, her vibes were bad vibes.
So now you got to run. Spikes come out of the wall means run.
Run. I mean, that's logical, right?
That's all you can do.
So they're running, run.
And we will leave them there.
And we will leave them there as they run away.
And now we are going back to the Whispering Woods with Auntie Casta and Mommy Dearest Shadow Weaver.
Oh my God, this is so good. It's funny because Mommy Dearest is about Joan Crawford. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Joan Crawford.
Yes. I had a little bullet about Mommy Dearest. I don't know if people know that movie. It's a 1981 movie starring Faye Dunaway. Notoriously campy. Nominated for 9 Razzies and won 5.
It's a phenomenal film.
Yeah, I've actually never seen it. I only know about it because once when I was a kid, my mom and I were watching news coverage of an abortion march, and the women were holding signs with wire hangers that said never again. And the news anchor, I don't know if it was actually the news or if it was some sort of like late night commentary show, made some joke about Mommy Dearest, that it was about Mommy Dearest. And I didn't get it because I was a child. And so my mom explained to me that they were making a joke in poor taste because in Mommy Dearest, Joan Crawford beat her daughter with a wire hanger because her daughter hung up a dress on a wire hanger. And her mother was like, no wire hangers.
Yes. I actually watched that movie with my mother.
Well, that must have been a treat.
It was actually. My mom likes campy movies, so we had a good time on.
Yeah, I mean, it's notoriously campy.
Yeah.
And it is based on the real autobiography of Joan Crawford's daughter, Christina Crawford. Anyway, Shadow Weaver is a real Mommy Dearest.
Shadow Weaver as Joan Crawford kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Especially the creepy face holding thing.
Right? Oh my God, Jenny, I think we unlocked something.
I think we did.
But, these two queens are walking through the woods. They're not dressed for hiking, Jenny.
Especially Casta. Just take off the cape, girl. That is not an outdoor fit. And you are not an outdoor girly.
No, she is not an outdoor girly. That is not an outdoor fit. And Shadow Weaver gives her a knowing look of like, you are not an outdoor girly. This is not an outdoor fit.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm not going to stop to help you.
And Cast is like, well, don't look at me like that. You could slow down.
I could.
And she's like, yeah, I could.
But I'm not going to.
Also, where are we going? You had a plan. And says, the only reason I'm following you is because if anyone would know about mind control, it's you. And Shadow Weaver says, mind control, is that what they told you? And she said, no, my gifts are always far subtler. So I want to just bring up a really quick thing here. So I was rewatching some of the old She-Ras last week since my girlfriend got me the box set of the original series for my birthday. And it's wild and it's so gay. And I watched The Secret of the Sword, which is the original She-Ra pilot episode, which we've mentioned in this podcast before. That's why the pilot episode of She-Ra of our She-Ra is called The Sword, right, etc. But as we've also mentioned in this podcast before, Adora is literally under a mind control spell by Shadow Weaver to keep her in the Horde. So instead of what we have here, which is like, systematic abuse and manipulation.
Yes, I have a bullet about that too. We did talk about that in the pilot. So this is something that connects all the way back to our pilot. We talked about the difference between indoctrination versus being under a literal spell, and how indoctrination is actually more scary because it connects to our real world, especially now, when we think about Trump and the GOP, again, connecting back to stuff we just talked about in the last episode with 1984. Not just historical negationism, but also the Ministry of Truth, fake news, doublespeak, propaganda. This shit is real.
This shit is real. This shit is real.
You don't need mind control when you have propaganda.
No, you don't. You don't. So I want to thank you for kind of bringing that back to us as well. I'm glad that we both had a little beat about that. But Cast is still bullshit.
Yeah, so Cast is really fed up. She's ready to walk away. But Shadow Weaver convinces her to stay by pointing out that Micah's magic, controlled by the enemy, he could do irreparable harm to others and himself.
Yeah.
And also after acknowledging that he is a better sorcerer than either of them. So all Casta knows right now is that Shadow Weaver's entire cryptic plan is just that we make ourselves stronger. But that's enough to keep Casta on the hook for now. Okay,
listen, that isn't a bad plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most that anyone has at this point. So we leave them crashing through the woods.
Yep. Oh, I love those queens. And then we go back to Krytis. And Katra, that's a pretty solid, makes a solid observation of why did that wall try to eat me?
It's a reasonable question.
Total reasonable question. And everyone is like, looks around and they're like, aren't we in the same place where we started?
Yeah, they're all freaked out.
And I have a little mini smart brain moment on labyrinths.
Oh, please.
So this is a really mini smart brain moment, but I was very curious because I'm like, oh, I love labyrinths. And this is kind of a labyrinthine thing that's happening right now. There is a difference between a labyrinth and a maze.
What?
Yes.
What is the difference?
Here's the difference between a labyrinth and a maze, which means that the movie The Labyrinth is actually a maze and not a labyrinth.
Oh, you're shattering my childhood, man. But please proceed.
Okay, in the specialized usage. Now, keep in mind that they can be interchangeable in kind of like the highest level, like colloquial, like.
Sort of like how every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square.
Right. But in the specialized usage of like game making and like making a labyrinth versus making a maze, there is a difference. A maze refers to a complex branching multicursal. So multicursal means different. It has different paths. Right. Puzzle with choices of path and direction, right? Like a maze. Think about like a cereal box, right? While a unicursal labyrinth has only one single path to the center. So a labyrinth in this sense has an unambiguous route to the center and back, presenting no navigational challenge.
So it should be easy?
It shouldn't be easy because you're still twisting and turning and everything, but you're not going into dead ends and shit.
Huh.
So, yeah, that's my mini smart brain moment.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So with a maze, you enter through one end and then exit through a different end. And with a labyrinth, your goal is the center?
Your goal is the center.
But in the labyrinth, the goal is the center. But there's dead ends and stuff. Yeah. Wow. That's totally wild.
Yeah, yeah. And this is specifically for a unicursal labyrinth, which is kind of like the traditional labyrinth of like Theseus.
Wow. I can't believe it. This is a very cool fact. Thank you. I love it.
You're welcome.
That was a really good nugget, though. That was like a really good piece of information that only took a small amount of time to convey.
Yeah, it was a juicy nugget. Yeah.
The tasty nugget, man.
Yeah, people use labyrinths like as meditation techniques too. Like you walk along the path of the labyrinth and stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, so look into labyrinths. It's really cool. That was my smart brain moment on labyrinths and mazes. So I think this is like I don't know if this is a labyrinth or a maze. Mostly I just think it's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's either one.
Yeah, I don't either. It's just confusing.
A structure that has been messed with by magical illusions.
And that is continuing to be messed with every single time.
Yes, yes. So they're in this weird place where, honestly, when I didn't even understand why they're all freaked out until Adora says, "Isn't this where we started?" Because I was like, I don't know, girl, it all looks the same. Why do you think that this is the place you started? Like, every level looks the same.
Right, I agreed. I was like, okay, girl, whatever, but sure.
We'll assume that they are correct, that it looks the same as where they started. And then they hear some creepy metallic growling that super freaks them all out.
Which also, yeah, freaky.
Yes, that is freaky. And then Entrapta's voice comes over the comm to tell them in an extremely un-Entrapta-like monotone, "The energy signature is just ahead of you. Go through the door on your left."
She sounds weird, huh? She sounds weird.
Yeah, and I know it's easy to say this from my comfy couch and whatnot, but I knew the first time I saw this app that was not Entrapta's voice.
Sure.
And it's a little funny that they didn't even say like, "Hey girl, you okay? You sound a little weird."
Like, wait, weren't you just like arguing like with a clone and trying to talk him down from like existential life?
Yeah. Like, what happened to screaming wrong Hordak? Is everything fine now? Like, they didn't question it at all, but yeah, it's fine. It's one of those things we have to just let it go.
Well, they're freaked out, right?
Yeah, they're preoccupied.
And of course, fantastic horror trope, like go to the door on your left. What door? Bum, bum, bum. And then there's a door there that wasn't there before.
Yes, this corridor that just goes on and on forever.
It just goes, which absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah, that thing actually freaks me out so much more than any like bloody, gory monster shit.
Same. Shit that like messes with your like concept of reality. That fucks me up way more than gory monster shit.
Yeah, and just like being trapped somewhere that you might never, like you could just keep walking forever and you'll never escape.
Terrifying. This is nightmare fuel.
Yeah. And Catra's the only one who seems to have any sense of that. She's like, seriously? How have you guys stayed alive this long?
Yeah, I mean, Catra gets that that's nightmare fuel.
Yeah, and the part where as they're walking, there's that weird visual effect where it seems like it's getting further away.
Like the optical illusion that they would show you when you learned about optical illusions in like second grade.
Yeah, there's a cool museum of optical illusions in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that they could have there.
It was like, oh, I see that. So you're showing me that you do indeed understand perspective.
But this is way more than that. Okay. So they're getting kind of freaked out. They're just walking, we're on the road to nowhere. Bump-a-dum-bump. And so as they're trucking along, real Entrapta cheerfully hops back on the comms with 110% more tonal range than the last time. To tell Adora that she and Rong Hordak what they have learned after finishing all the downloads of those invasion logs. And she says this planet was once a First One's colony like Etheria. It looks like Horde Prime and the First Ones were fighting for control of the planet, so they were both here at the same time. Mm-hmm. And Horde Prime won. But something on the planet drove him away before he could conquer it. He tried to erase all the records of his failure. And meanwhile, Rong Hordak is just sitting there with his knees pulled up to his chest, looking like his parents just told him they're getting divorced, and they didn't actually send his dog to live on a farm, and grandma isn't actually on a forever vacation to Tahiti, like all at the same time.
Where did she go?
He's just like totally crushed.
Oh.
And he says to himself, Horde Prime lied to us. He is not all powerful.
Yeah.
Just so innocent.
I love this kind of cut from like, Horde Prime lied to us. He's not all powerful. Cutting to Adora say, see, we're on the right path. And it's just like, oh. Wrong Hordak is also on the right path. Nah.
So we established that this door is not getting any closer, but Entrapta was not the one who told them to go this way because she hasn't talked to them since the last level.
Yeah, not a door.
Yes. And so Catra starts to low-key panic, which I think it's amazing that she's held it together this long.
Yo, for real. Like I would have lost it a way long time ago.
Yeah, she says she knew this place was weird and they need to get out of here. She has tears welling up in her eyes. But then Entrapta interrupts to ask, who's your new friend? You know that extra heat signature that's right behind you?
Guess who's right behind you?
Dun, dun, dun.
I love this. Also a classic horror trope, right?
But it's not, luckily, a horrifying alien with a mouth inside its mouth.
So anyway, we turn around and we see this like a glowing humanoid figure.
Yes, with a translucent blue mane like a head rock.
Yeah, with like an aura mane and just kind of standing there. And I love that. It looks and just goes and just like cocks its head to one side.
Definitely doesn't do anything aggressive.
No, it's just like, hi.
And they all scream simultaneously. They freak out.
Don't blame them. And Catra super freaks out.
And she goes straight into fight mode. Like she is going to be the one to defend everybody. She pushes the others aside and jumps through them to tackle this creature. And she and the creature both just disappear together.
They teleport to a different place that's covered in the magic dandelion pollen. And poof, they reappear. And they kind of both thud, right? They both thud. And who is that? Who is that?
Adora is screaming over the earpiece in her most protective girlfriend voice. The same as when Catra's arm went through the wall.
Yep.
Screaming for Catra. And Catra helpfully says, I'm down here, as if that means anything in this context. And then Milog transforms from his nondescript featureless humanoid form back to his true form, we presume, of a big cat.
Mm-hmm. A very big, angry cat.
Yes, and right now he's angry, so his mane and his eyes turn red. And he roars in Catra's face. And Adora screams, I'm coming!
And Catra's like, hurry. Like, is just like, what is going on? I hate everything. I cannot deal with this anymore. Why can't I be fighting the things that I understand? Because at least I understand that I'm fighting something.
Yeah, Catra does not know how to handle this situation.
She does not know how to handle this situation.
And so back in the hallway, Adora is booking it. But just as she passes from the area without the magical pollen puffs into the area with the magical pollen puffs, wouldn't you know it, giant spikes start erupting from the walls again. So they all have to freeze to, not die.
Well, that sucks.
Very inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient. And they are like almost touching them. Like they are real close to them. If they move, they're going to get giant spiked. Yikes.
They're going to be super impaled.
But Glimmer's like, I don't know. I don't know about this. Hold on a second. I want to try. Hang on. I have something to try. And Glimmer lifts up her hand and pokes the spike. And it evaporates and turns into these magical dandelion pollen.
Yeah.
And Glimmer puts it together that these are illusions. And that means that this is magic. And she does an illusion destroying rune. All right. She draws the rune and then she pushes it through. And it disintegrates the spikes. See, Glimmer, your vibes were good ones all along. It was the ocean. It just smells different.
It was Agatha all along.
Yes, exactly.
She's so happy now.
She's so happy now. But Adora has one thing on her mind.
Yes, of course. This was not a happy moment for Adora. I'm sure she's only happy that she can now continue running to get to Catra.
Right. She's like, oh, good. No more spikes. I can find Catra. So now we go to Catra meeting Kitty. So I have here, you please set the scene because this is what I have for it. Scared kitties understand scare kitties. They puff and growl and get fierce.
I mean, that's a good setup. Right now Milog is still in angry red mode and he's just circling around Catra and growling. And Catra right now is not angry. She understands on a gut level how to be in the presence of a scared, angry creature. She's just sitting very still on the ground, trying not to provoke him. He gets right up in her face with a big, scary growl, which for some reason makes her sneeze again, even though there's no pollen puffs around. Maybe his breath is magic. Maybe he's exuding the same magical pollen. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
She could have anxiety sneezes.
I never heard of that, but sure. So her sneeze causes him to stop being big and angry and change back to his like factory default mode or whatever, like normal size and color. And he starts mirroring her. So he does a little kitty sneeze back at her kitty sneeze. And that's when she starts to be like, oh, maybe something is happening. Maybe we're connecting here. Maybe he's something other than a big scary monster. But of course, just as they start to have this tentative connection, that's when the others fall through a big portal in the ceiling and they're like ready to kick ass.
Right. They interrupt their cats just being cats with each other like cats do cat moments together.
Right. But they find her quietly sitting and petting the big kitty's face.
Uh-huh. Because what else are you going to do? There's a big kitty there, Jenny.
Indeed.
What are you going to do if you see a big kitty? You're going to be like, I want to pet the kitty.
That's what I do.
Yeah, same. I mean, if people don't already know this, we are extreme cat people here. So we would be like, kitty, yay!
If that kitty's going to let you pet him, you're going to pet him. And Adora is very caught off guard by this. She's like, are you petting the thing that's been trying to kill us?
I mean, she's still learning about cats. It's fine.
And so this is moving into what I am calling, for me personally, the number one gayest moment of this episode, or my favorite. I'm not saying it's the most gay. I'm saying it's my favorite gayest moment. Catra immediately gets frustrated. She says, I'm trying something here if you didn't notice. And they all, get all smiley again. But again, Bo, this is the most emotionally tone deaf thing. I cannot imagine that Bo would really do this. He says, it's just so cute. Like, really, Bo? You really think she's going to react well to this in this moment? So, of course, she doesn't react well to it. She gets mad. And, of course, her getting mad makes Milag mad. And then Adora jumps in to try to protect Catra. Probably for the first time ever, Catra intervenes to try to de-escalate, which I don't think is something she normally has a lot of practice doing.
Oh, I agree.
And so this is the most beautiful, wonderful, delicious, soft. I think I like it because it's soft. I like the soft stuff.
It is soft, yeah.
Catra, she gets mad and then she stops herself. She says, I'm sorry. I got angry. It's something I'm working on. And then Adora goes like full anime, like literal stars around her head with tears in her eyes. And she says, oh, you are?
Mm-hmm. Oh, obviously I have this as the gayest moment of Adora being proud of her girlfriend for using her therapy tools.
And Catra says, yes, I am. I think this thing responds to emotions. So can you not give me a hard time right now? And Adora's like, yep. Sorry. Do your thing. She just sort of backs up. Like, it's so beautiful. Like they're both really doing the work. And they're both stepping outside of their comfort zones and they're breaking old patterns and starting new ones. And it's so great.
This is such a key moment in the series. It is such a key moment in the series because you see like Catra taking this large step of like recognizing and verbalizing, I'm working on something.
Yeah, and it's more than just recognizing. It's like breaking the old pattern and choosing to do something differently.
Yes. And we've seen her like kind of do baby steps for that.
Yeah, and she's trusting Adora not to take advantage of her vulnerability, and everyone in the room really, not to punish her or take advantage of her for being vulnerable.
Or make fun of her, Bo.
So it's really wonderful. And, again, like they could all react differently. They could snicker, or there are a lot of ways they could react, but they hold space for her in this moment. So everyone is really doing the work. I think Catra gets the most credit, but they're all doing the work.
Catra gets the most credit, and she also explicitly states her needs. I need you to chill. Like, essentially, I need you to chill out. I'm doing something. I'm trying something that's new for me. It's hard. And everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. I got you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for distilling that down.
And so Catra, I love this whole thing as a gayest moment, protective gay girlfriend, Catra being an ultimate cat dyke, squatting down, saying, it's okay, we won't hurt you. And this is how you make friends with a scared cat. This is what I do when my kitty, like one of my kitties, she's wonderful and absolutely loving, but has such high anxiety around other people. And it manifests in like attacking people. So we've learned ways to we're like, okay, you obviously can't deal with the stress of people in your house that aren't your family. So we put her away and we tell her it's okay. No one's going to hurt you. And you just model this sort of calmness because not just magical cats, but all animals, cats can really they pick up the vibe, right? If you just create a calming, welcoming space, then the animal will calm down.
And she holds out her hand and waits for him to move into it.
Yep, which is also cat move. You have to do that.
Yeah. And I think this is the moment. So when he moves into her hand, they have this magical bonding moment where blinding rays of light shoot out from their connection point. So I think that's where he bonds with her on some deep magical level and becomes her emotional support cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He bonks her hand.
Yeah, because it's after that she can understand his speech.
Uh-huh. Oh. And then he starts doing kitty mirroring with her because she sneezes and then the kitty sneezes and then all the kitties are being kitties and then I'm dying. And Adora recognizes, okay, maybe I should now start talking to my girlfriend's cat. And gets a little kind of nervous again when Adora comes at it to start talking. And Adora says, "You're magic, aren't you?" And I love this part because she's get it. She's like, okay, I'm going to talk to your kitty. Right? So she says, I'm magic too. And I love this because instead of doing slow blinkies like you do to calm down a cat, she does slow glowies with her eyes.
Well, they have to bond as fellow magical creatures.
Right. But that's how she bonds with fellow magical creatures with the eyes, which makes sense, right? That's how we've been able to see that people are magic on this show and in so many other shows. It is a visual trope for a reason, but also the slow blinkies and the slow, it's the magic version of slow blinkies. And I loved that. And it was so tender.
Yes. And Milag digs it.
Yep. He's like, okay, I like this one. I approve.
You're my girlfriend too.
You're mine now. Meow.
Yes, he grows from small to large as he cuddles up to Adora. Lesbian family cat adoption complete.
Oh, yep. Gay moment. Gay. I mean, this whole thing was a gay moment. Getting a cat is usually a gay moment.
Yeah, so Milag starts metallic meowing at Catra, who is freaked out because she can understand his meow speech now, and I assume she couldn't before. And Bo says, it must have imprinted on you. It trusts you. And so Milag starts to tell Catra the summarized story of what happened on this planet. Do you want to tell the story, Meph?
Sure. So first of all, the creature who we know is now Milag introduces itself to Catra as Milag and has been here by itself for a really long time. And it thought they were enemies, and I really like this because it was it's Catra. This is a line in particular. It feels like Catra's translating on the fly. She says, it thought we were enemies the ones that came to take its magic. They dug into the ground, built machines. And then we have, okay, that's the first. Adora realizes, oh, it's the first ones. These were my colonial ancestors. They were mining this planet just like Etheria. And then Catra says, but they took too much. And then the one who destroys came. And then Milag shapeshifts into a picture, a figure of Horg Prime. And it gets Catra too. She's like,
yeah, because she's still sitting on the ground. And so when Milag shapeshifts into Prime, he's towering over her.
Right. Which, it's not like she hasn't experienced this exact same positioning, terrifying her, right?
Yeah. This is recent trauma.
So She then says that he, being Horde Prime, tried to conquer this place, but couldn't. And now she's like kind of, she's hugging herself and closing her eyes, and she's kind of having some trauma stuff going through her right now. And then says the magic of Krytis was too wild for Prime. He didn't understand what it was. He couldn't use it, couldn't defend against it.
And that's when Glimmer busts in because she realizes magic is Prime's weakness.
What? Yep, the raw wild magic is too much for Horde Prime's order of oppression.
Yeah. Wild magic does not fit into the neat order of fascism.
It does not. It does not. And then Catra continues that Milog drove Prime off but couldn't defeat him. And now Milog is the last of its kind.
Milog's been alone for a long time.
Oh, for a long time. And Adora kneels next to Catra and looks at Milog and talks to Milog directly and apologizes for what happened, but we're going to make sure it never happens again. You can come with us to our planet, which has magic too, and it might be the last place in the universe that does. I think you'd really like it if you want to come with us.
Yes, and Milog is visibly enthusiastic.
So happy, and then he starts to purr and licks Adora, and Catra's cat loves Adora, and Catra loves Adora, and there's kitty happy fun times. And Adora's like, okay, I guess I have a cat now too. So Adora lets Entrapta know that they're bringing a friend back to the ship.
Yes, and Entrapta also has good news that Wrong Hordak's existential crisis has resolved. It's probably the shortest existential crisis in history, and he is now ready to topple Prime's unjust rule.
Which is the plan. And before we kind of move on, I just want to do a tiny little nugget about Milog, the history of the character Milog. Okay, so this is another mini smart brain moment, a nugget, and Jenny, please feel free to chime in on this one. First, there were two separate characters in the original Masters of the Universe that kind of comprise Milog. One is Milog, the name Milog, who is a golem.
We did already discuss golems in the episode Roll With It when Perfuma conjured a giant plant golem. So you can refer back to that episode for the history of golems in Jewish mythology, which is, centuries of Jewish history and mythology.
And some very, very, very cool stuff. So that's where the name comes from. But his whole being Catra's cat pal is actually a reference to Catra's pink lioness pal from the original series, whose name, it's so bad, Jenny. Her name was Claudine. C-L-A-W, C-L-A-W-E-E-N.
I mean, I was braced for something really cringy. That's just like, an 80s pun. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
It's goofy. It's a dad joke, right? Yeah, it's just an 80s dad joke. Okay. So, but I'm glad they didn't stick with the name. Milog is a way cooler name. They decided not to go with the pink lion look because Claudine resembled Steven from Steven Universe's pal Lion too much. Like, it looked a lot like that character, and they were like,
it would look like a reference to another show that's very popular now.
To Steven Universe. Yeah, another gay show. So they were like, well, we can't have that. So that's why we have Milog as how Milog is, which I love the design of Milog. So that's our little nugget about sweet baby Milog, our kitty.
I love that. Yeah, I didn't even notice because I had, even though I did see the original She-Ra as a young child, I never really saw it in reruns over the years, so the details didn't stick, so I didn't remember the name Milog. And so just recently, a few months ago, when I hired a cat sitter and he wasn't familiar with She-Ra, and so I introduced him to my cat Milog, he's like, oh, Milog, is that just Gollum spelled backwards? Because I think he thought it was Lord of the Rings reference. And I said, no. And then I thought about him a little longer. I was like, yes?
No, maybe.
Maybe. But it had never occurred to me. I was like, oh, I guess it is. That can't be a coincidence.
Oh, nope. Definitely was not a coincidence. So we have a Milog.
I also have a Fizzgig right here. Oh, she's so rascally. She's always getting into all my stuff.
She's so wee. Oh, she's such a hellion. I love her.
Yeah, she is a little chaos gremlin. Her latest project is to eat all of the magnets off the fridge for no reason. I have to try to like put all my fridge stuff so she can't reach it from the top of the fridge or the bottom.
Oh my gosh. She's such a gremlin. I hope everyone listening is enjoying all of the kitty stories here because this is a cat episode and we have cats. So we're going to talk about that. So yeah, Wrong Hordak's existential crisis has been resolved. As Jenny mentioned, he is now ready to rise up against him and free the universe from his unjust reign.
Yes, he's very enthusiastic now that he has a new mission.
So, everyone's like pumped up to go home and Bo is like, do we have a plan?
Yes, because they still just have one final problem, which is that they still don't know how they're going to get through that big old blockade.
Right. Big old blockade, but Catra has a plan. Or at least an idea. She may not have a plan, but she has an idea.
And the final parting shot of this scene is Catra with a big old gay mischief grin on her face.
Oh, yeah. Gayest moment.
Which we love to see.
We love a gay mischief grin. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, we know. So now we're back to Etheria. We're in the Whispering Woods. We're at the Casta and Shadow Weaver show where these queens are still hiking through the woods. I just imagined. Yes, and Casta's cave somehow still looks unblemished, even though it keeps getting caught on like every single thing.
I imagine that Casta just kind of like left Mysticor with what she was wearing, but that includes high heels. So she's just like hiking in heels right now. This is my headcanon for Casta because she's a queen and she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's so cranky. I would be cranky too if I was hiking through the woods in that outfit.
Yeah, for real. So, and she's just pissed. She's like, I can't believe I fell for this. You don't care about Micah. All you ever cared about is power.
And just as she is about to storm off once and for all, the big mossy boulder right next to her starts moving and breathing.
Oh no, definitely not.
Because it's not a boulder. It's a big old Etherian beastie. Somewhat resembling a giant boar, but also a mossy boulder.
Yeah, is it the same giant boar that looks like the one from Princess Mononoke that we saw in Hero?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
So the shot zooms out and we see this whole area is covered with these sleeping beasties, like a big old cuddle puddle.
Yay!
And so I just want to make a general note before we get into the rest of this scene. That this scene has always reminded me of the Dark Crystal, partly because of these big beasties that kind of look like part of the landscape. There are big beasties in the Dark Crystal called Nebri. They kind of rise up out of the water and they kind of look similar to these. But also not just because of those particular beasties, just in general, what Shadow Weaver says about the magic of the planet and the planet being living magic itself. That is something that I always thought about the Dark Crystal. Like the whole planet is living magic.
Yes.
Even, when Jen, the main character, first leaves his home, he's never been out in the wilds before. And he's just constantly awestruck by how the whole planet is living magic. Even things that look like plants keep getting up and walking away. Every single part of the planet is living magic. The planet itself is one giant living creature that is magic.
Yeah. And then we have Shadow Weaver. We'll bring that back to She-Ra, where Shadow Weaver gives us the kind of the tea on what exactly is up with the magic of the planet. Everything we were taught in the Sorcerer's Guild was wrong. The first ones didn't enhance this planet's magic with their tech. They weakened it. Etheria isn't a weapon. It is a living creature. And the magic has been there the whole time, slumbering, waiting to be awakened. Prime has taken our strongest fighters, but he does not yet know what this planet really is. We can destroy the restraints the first ones built, set the magic of Etheria free, and use it against him.
And I just want to go through that again with stage direction, because the stage direction of the way Shadow Weaver is like moving and like touching and almost touching Casta is like, it could be read as sexy, and it also could be read as her, like, again, making these power moves. It's so deliberate. So first she says, everything we were taught in the Sorcerer's Guild was wrong. The first ones didn't enhance this planet's magic with their tech. They weakened it. Etheria isn't a weapon. It's a living creature. and Casta touches one of the warthog's sides, and it emits the same magical pollen flukes that we saw in Krytis. And its magic has been here the whole time, slumbering, waiting to be awakened. And then Shadow Weaver moves behind Casta, and she almost put her hand over Casta's, but instead she captures a few of those magical pollen flukes in her hand. Prime has taken our strongest fighters, but he does not yet know what this planet really is. And now Shadow Weaver's face is right behind Casta's face, and this pose is objectively sexy, but I can still only see it as a power play because...
Objectively sexy.
Yeah, but because, some people, and Shadow Weaver is one of those people, can only use their sexuality as a power play. And I feel like that's what's happening here. She's just trying to dominate. And then Shadow Weaver says, we can destroy the restraints the first one's built, set the magic of Etheria free. And then she closes her hand completely on the magical floofs as her arm wraps around Casta and use it against him. So that's like the fullness of that moment, is there's just this power happening. Like without the stage direction, it just sounds like she's fully giving herself over to reverence for the planet.
She has the right information, but maybe not the right idea on how to use it.
Yeah. And obviously Casta still doesn't trust her.
Sure. She's like, you want to take the magic for yourself. And Shadow Weaver says pretty clearly, I want to save Micah. I owe him that much at least. And she's like, are you going to join me or what? Right? Like, help me undo this. Stop me. And this part's great. She holds her hand out to Casta and says, stop me if I try to take the power for myself. And Casta's like, cool. That means I get to kill you? This is great.
Yeah, so they shake on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Casta is like, oh.
You better believe it. Yeah. Also, yeah, I can kind of see how that's sexy. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like I can't deny it's undeniable, but it's also not like straightforward. Like,
sure,
it's a power play.
It's a power play. Sure. There's definitely sexual tension there, but like, yeah, I get it. I'm there.
Yeah, I don't think Casta thinks it's sexy.
No, Casta does not, but yeah. Shall we go back to space?
Let's go back to Darla.
So they're all on the bridge. Everyone's there.
Yes, they're approaching the blockade.
And Trapta is, doing her doopity doops and says, coming up on the blockade, they'll have visual on us soon. And Bo is like, are we sure this is going to work? And, Adora's, there is only one way to find out. And Jenny, you want to take it from here?
Yes. So now we are finally ready to close the loop on this running bit that's been going since the beginning.
Yep.
And Glimmer's the one now who says, so just to make sure I get it, we're going to go running through a horde blockade while relying on the magic of a creature we've just met? And now Catra is the one who cheerfully replies, that about sums it up, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bo and Glimmer smile at her because she's one of them now, and she has a goofy plan of her own that she's overconfident in, and they love it.
Yep. So, yeah, they're covered in Milog's magic, and they just punch at Darla, and boom, they just barrel through.
Yes. They zoop through that blockade like a sack full of chaotic queers in an invisible Wonder Woman jet.
I love that. That's a fantastic simile.
Thank you. And it's very beautiful.
And it's very beautiful. And you know what? They are home.
They sure are. They reemerge in the Etherian atmosphere in a beautiful Etherian skyline. Hooray!
So they're home. And I love this moment.
I know you do. Take it away, Meph.
So they're all having their happy celebrations. And by the way, we don't notice this, but while they're barreling through the blockade in the atmosphere, Adora and Catra instinctively grab each other's hands and are holding them.
Of course they do.
Because of course they do, right? Like, duh. But Catra notices this once they get to Etheria and looks down to see her hand, and then she goes, nah, and she kind of throws it, but then like blushes.
Yeah, because she's mad at herself again for having feelings Like my headcanon of her internal monologue then to herself is like, oh, you idiot, you had feelings again. What's wrong with you? Like, she's not mad at anybody else. She's just mad at herself.
And Adora didn't notice. Like, she wasn't like...
Yeah, this was just between Catra and Catra.
Yeah, this was all between Catra and Catra. And I have this as a gayest moment with hand-holding. Grouchy hand-holding. Yeah, so they did it. They're happy. Glimmer, I love this too. Glimmer runs up and kisses Catra on the face. Like on the face, not the mouth, but on the face.
Yep, I have Glimmer and Bo non-consensually hug Catra and praise her.
Yeah, and I love that Glimmer will just like lay one on Catra. Like, and of course, Catra's grouchy.
Yes, and that's a pattern of their like friendship that's going to be there for probably the rest of their lives.
I love their friendship. Because they're both wonderful. We've talked about the parallels between the two of them. We all know, but this is great.
Sparkles and Horde Scum.
Sparkles and Horde Scum.
Friends till the end.
Friends till the end. And we have the sing-song, Glimmer's Catra saved the day. Like, we got some more of that. And Bo insists everybody have a best friend squad hug. And Catra's like, absolutely not, because she's cooler than them.
Yeah, she's too cool for hugs.
She's too cool for hugs.
But it's going to happen anyway.
Yep. And then Adora's like watching all of her like best friends hug her girlfriend.
And the door opens on a beautiful sunlit Etherean landscape as Adora pronounces, "We made it. We're home."
Yikes.
That is a fantastic ending after a lot of rough endings.
Banger episode. Jenny.
Meth.
What did we learn?
I think we learned that Horde Prime is an unjust ruler and that we must topple his reign. And we shall.
We shall. I love that. I learned that too.
Awesome. I also learned that Amaze and Labyrinth are not the same thing and my whole world has been a lie.
I know, it's wild.
But my existential crisis is already resolved and I'm ready to topple Horde Prime's unjust regime.
Wrong Hordak style. I love it. I learned... I didn't really learn this, but it was re-taught to me how much I love cats. And sometimes the best thing that you can do for your cat is get them a cat.
Absolutely. Every cat should have a cat.
Every cat should have a cat.
Cats shouldn't be lonely. It's a myth that cats are solitary creatures. They are not.
They are not. Oh, no. Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want to join us on an abandoned planet of magic, you can like and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, which all of those places like, comment, love, follow at HeyAdoraCast, or you can email us all of your cat pictures.
Oh yes, all the cat pictures, please.
All of them at HeyAdoraCast@gmail.com. And in case you don't know, here's a place where you can throw money at us. We have a Patreon.
Oh yes, that's the most fun place to have awesome conversations with all your rebel buddies.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You hang out, get fantastic perks, Patreon-only live watches, video hangouts, hanging out on our Discord, which is awesome. Our Discord kind of kicks ass.
All the most fun rebel buddies.
Totally the most fun rebel buddies. And, if you want to join to show us pictures of your cat, you would also see pictures of our cats.
Indeed.
So if you join our Patreon, you can see pictures of our cats, as well as other things. You can find a link to our Patreon, as well as the link to this week's Spotify playlist, A Shot in the Dark, in our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
That's right. All the things are always gonna be at heyadora.gay.
They're always gonna be there, because we're always gonna be .gay. And remember, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Meow.